Hey beauty babes, I'm Racquelle and this is Perfected Beauty. What's up y'all? Welcome back to Perfected Beauty. So basically we're gonna do some makeup. I'm thinking glitter, I'm thinking pink. So I don't currently have a full-blown look in mind, but I do have a color scheme and I know I want it to be like kind of graphic lines and cuts and just all of the fun stuff. So my color scheme right now that I have on my hand is this like neon pink, this pink glitter. I have this like mauve-y kind of color, this purpley color, a deeper brown, and a like gold shimmer. So I don't really know. I have Tiffany J up on my phone and I'm looking at just like a few of her extra glam, extra linery kind of looks for inspo. And I figured let's go for it. It's 2021, it's a new year. Happy New Year, y'all. Let's get into this makeup. First, let's get this hair out of the way. I'm just gonna put it back into a ponytail. Okay, great. So before I do literally anything else on my face, I'm gonna have to cover this up for a couple reasons. First of all, because I literally can't stand to look at it. But second of all, because whenever I have super prominent dark marks or scars or anything like that, and I'm about to do makeup, I cover those first because then when you go on top with your foundation, you don't have to do as many layers of foundation because all of your like cover up work and everything like that is done beforehand. So I'm gonna go ahead and cover up this acne scar. I'm gonna be using my Old Faithful LA Girl Pro Concealer for that. And right now I'm using the color Fawn. The way that I usually cover up my dark marks is I just take a bit of that concealer, pat it on top, and just let it sit there for a bit. And when you're using concealer for like covering acne scars or any kind of cover up like that, you want to make sure it's pretty close to your natural skin tone, because if it's too light and then you go over it with foundation, then you're just gonna have like a light patch under your foundation. It can look really weird. Just make sure it's your skin tone. And really this is all that I feel like I need to cover on my face, but since I'm already doing the pre-concealer step, I'll go ahead and just get rid of anything else. These marks are all pretty faded, but the more prep work you do, the less you have to do with your foundation later. I'm also just putting a little concealer on the corners of my mouth because they can tend to get dark from time to time. It's definitely not a necessary step, but I do find that it gives me a nice brighter face and complexion overall. Now that I have the concealer laid down in the different spots that I want to cover up, I'm gonna let it sit for just a little bit, and after that I'm gonna go in with this concealer brush and just tap around the edges of where I placed it. I'm not gonna tap over like the darkest part of what I'm trying to cover up because it will pick up product and that's not what I want to do. But I am gonna go around the edges of it because it'll help it blend into my skin and conceal any of those harsh lines. So I'm just going around the edges of where I laid down that concealer and kind of like tap flick, like flicking it outwards. So once I have all of my concealer down and all of my problem spots like muted out, I'm just gonna go in with a tiny blending brush. This is actually for eyeshadow, but it's the perfect size for this step. I'm gonna take this blending brush and this Sasha Buttercup setting powder, and I'm just gonna lightly dust over all those places where I put the concealer. And putting down this powder really helps to make sure that the concealer is going to set down and it's not gonna move when I put my foundation on top of it. But you don't want too much powder because you don't want it to get cakey when you go to put your foundation on. So just a small, slight dusting of powder. Perfect, love it. And then I'm just gonna spray with setting spray. Not that this is really a necessary step, but I just feel like it's natural for me to, when I put down a powder, go after it and spray with setting spray. And it just smells so good. Okay, so now we can move on to our brows. I do have a brow tutorial up on my channel and it really hasn't changed too much since then, so I'm not really gonna talk through this part. But if you are interested to see how I do my brows in detail, you can click the link in the eye to watch that video. Okay, great. So brows are done. And like I said, I don't know exactly the look that I'm gonna be doing, but I do know the colors that I'm gonna use. And most of them are coming from the Alyssa Edwards palette with Anastasia Beverly Hills. So let's just get into it. Get into it, yeah.
Yeah, get into it.
And before I actually lay down any shadows, I'm going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Eye Primer. And usually I would just use concealer to prime my eyes, but I am using like kind of bright, colorful shadows. They're not going to be super bright, but there are going to be some colors. And because of that, I'm going to use this because it's a lighter base. It's not quite white, but it's pretty light, and colors just tend to pop on this eye primer. I'm going to be using that. Just going to dot it on my eye and then blend it out. And I think I actually want the shadows to come out pretty far, so I'm bringing my primer out far as well. And then I'm just going to blend out the edges of that primer with my concealer brush. Okay, so eyes are primed. I think the first color I'm going to lay down is this Unicorn Tribe from the Alyssa Edwards palette. I'm just going to start right in the outer corner of my crease. I don't want to bring it up too far because I'm going to be blending out the edges with a different color, but I do want to give it a decent amount of room. So to apply this color, I'm just tapping it on to get the most opaque color payoff, and then I blend and kind of like feather my brush when I'm okay with it being a little lighter and a little less intense. So I'm just patting the color on to get the most opaque, most pigmented version of the color, and then swiping and dragging once I'm happy with how the color looks, just to kind of blend it in to a different area. Now I'm taking a bit of a fluffier brush and I'm gonna go into the color The Supreme, and I'm gonna be using this to blend out the edges of that first shade. I also intentionally left the front third of my crease kind of bare with color because I'm going to be taking this color and packing it in right there. When I'm taking the color The Supreme, I'm doing the same thing. If I want it to be more opaque and more concentrated color, I'm tapping it at the front of my crease, and when I'm okay with a lighter, more feathery, more blended version of the color is when I'm using the sweeping motions. And so I'm doing that all along the edges of that first color. Now that I've got those edges pretty blended out, I'm just going to go back and forth between Unicorn Tribe and The Supreme to blend the colors into each other. Especially up in this crease area, most everything on the lid is going to be wiped away for the cut crease, but in the crease is where I really want to see that blend. So I'm just taking my time and going between the two colors and making sure I'm happy with how they look together. I love these two colors together. I think they look so pretty. Now I'm going to be taking just a little bit of the color Back Rolls to add some depth right in the outer third of my crease before I cut it. Now I'm going back and forth between Unicorn Tribe and Back Rolls again to just make sure I like the blend. I actually think I'm going to take Back Rolls and bring it up all the way along the bottom of the crease because I really like the depth that it gives. And I think this, in contrast with that bright pink liner that I'm going to do, is going to be dope. Okay, cool. I'm really liking this purpley, pinky look that we've got going on so far. So now I'm going to cut my crease, and I'm going to be doing that with a Q-tip and some micellar water. So I'm going to be taking this micellar water, putting it on this Q-tip to get the cleanest cut shape that I can get. So I'm going to start lower than I actually want the cut crease to be because it's hard to get a sharp line with a Q-tip. And now's the time where I'm going to be figuring out exactly what shape I want for the pink line to make. That line is actually much sharper than I thought it was going to be. Okay, but it looks like I took out most of the brown, which gives me like the really deep color right there in the crease. So I'm just going to go and add some of that back in before I do the liner. So I'm taking Back Rolls from the Anastasia palette, and then I'm going to blend that out with some Unicorn Tree. So I basically ended up kind of like lifting my entire crease upwards. So I had to go in with all three colors and just blend them out. And now I'm going to cut one more time. And I think I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to have to do it again on the other eye, which is not terrifying at all. Okay, I think I am happy with those cut creases. So in order to do this like bright pink neon line that I actually have a neon pigment that I got off of Amazon. So I'm going to be using this neon pink and the Mayron mixing liquid. So this liquid basically just turns whatever powder that you have into a liner or like a more liquid form. So I'm going to put some of this out onto my makeup palette and then mix it with the mixing liquid, and then I'm going to line right underneath of that cut crease. I really like how this makeup is going, so I really hope I don't screw it up with this step. Wish me luck. Okay, I've got it on there. Obviously these are extremely thick lines right now, but I figure I can just like minimize them. So I'm trying to decide whether I want to go in with this pink glitter that I have next, or if I want to go in with this like gold shimmer that I have. I think I'm gonna do the gold shimmer next because I can like slim out this liner a bit more with concealer, and I'll put the concealer and then put the gold shimmer on top. I think that's what I'm gonna do. So starting with some more LA Girl Pro concealer, I'm gonna take a very small concealer brush and start to carve out where I'm gonna place that gold shimmer. I'm really liking the way that that pink like neon liner is looking now that I was able to slim it out with the concealer. So I'm happy with this choice. And now I'm gonna go right in with a wet brush, start packing on that gold shimmer called Inspire. And I'm actually using like a pat and then sweep motion. Like I'm still patting first because it does deposit the most like pow of a color in my opinion, but with shimmer specifically, it's really nice to like drag and swipe them because it almost like activates the sheeny component of them. Love it! Okay, and now that I've got that color laid down, I'm gonna take some of this micellar water on a Q-tip, and I'm just going to carve out where I want to connect that pink liner. Okay, awesome. Now I'm gonna do the same thing that I did for the pink liner up top, and I'm just gonna connect it down to fully enclose this golden shimmer color within a pink liner. Okay, so I have the pink liner portion completely finished. I love how it came out. It was a little shaky there for a sec, but now I'm going to add in this pink glitter. And I said this in a previous video before. I don't know if you've seen it. If you haven't, go back and watch it. But the best glitter hack I ever learned was taking Walgreens brand aloe vera gel and mix it with any glitter that you want. You can mix it with multiple glitters and it creates your own glitter gel. So you can have customized glitter gel, have whatever color you want, and it is perfect. It stays on all day. I love it. So that's what I did with this. It is basically just a few different pink glitters mixed up into one, and then the aloe vera gel. So I'm gonna add this underneath of that bottom pink liner. So the way that I'm adding this on is I'm taking a liner brush and I'm brushing it on where I want it to go. But this liner brush is kind of applying it thicker than I want. So then I'm taking a dry angled brush and just wiping away the edge and forming it to be that like straight liner that I want it to be. And it gives you that perfectly like defined tail at the end. I'm gonna do that same thing on the other side. Brush it on with this liner brush, and I'm brushing it on right up to that pink line. And now that I've got it on where I want it to go, I'm just gonna take that dry brush and pull it up at the ends. Now I'm gonna add some bling. I have these like little rhinestones from, I think these were from Michael's. They're either from Michael's or Hobby Lobby, but it's just like a case of a bunch of little tiny rhinestones all the way up to like big rhinestones, and I'm just gonna decorate like this top portion of my eye with them. To glue on these crystals, I'm gonna be using spirit gum. This is usually used in like special effects makeup to glue on like prosthetics and stuff like that, but I really like it to glue on gemstones because I don't have to worry about them moving all throughout the day. And I know it's skin safe, it's just a really strong adhesive. So I usually take some of this and I dab it onto my makeup palette, and then I'll use just like a regular wooden stick and dip it into the glue, tap the glue wherever I want to put the rhinestones and then add the rhinestones on. So I'm going to be doing that now. Okay, I added in some rhinestones, and then I also just took the glitter gel that I made and dotted it around the rhinestones to add a little bit more pizzazz. And now I'm just going to line my lids. I'm not going to do a winged liner because I like the shape of the pink, but I'm going to line my lids so that when I apply my lashes, they blend into my lash line. So I'm just going to use the NYX liquid liner for that. Okay, now what I think I'm going to do is actually do the rest of my face makeup and then do my under eye and lashes and come back to the eyes at the end. Okay, so for my face, I'm going to be using the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless Foundation, and my shade is 356 right now. So I'm just going to dot this all over my face and then blend it out with a beauty blender. And I actually realized that I need to go wet my beauty blender. So please hold. I'll be back. Okay, so I'm taking my makeup sponge. It's a Real Technique sponge, not a beauty blender. I don't know why I said that. I'm just going to blend out this foundation. Next, I'm gonna add my concealer, which is the LA Girl Pro Conceal in the color Fawn. And I'm gonna use that same Real Technique sponge to blend that out. Sometimes I take my nose ring out before I do my makeup, and sometimes it's just not that big of a deal. And today, I'm really wishing that I took my nose ring out. Do you guys leave your nose ring in when you do your makeup or not? Comment down below. Okay, so our foundation and concealer is on. Now I'm going to be moving to powder, and I'm going to be using that Sacha Buttercup setting powder. And I'm just going to set my whole face with it, but I'm going to start with the places that I have concealer. And now I'm just going to take a little bit of that powder in the cap, swirl it around in my brush, and set the rest of my face. Now I'm taking the Anastasia Beverly Hills Contour Kit in medium to deep, and I'm using that to just go over my highlighted areas so that they're not like crazy bright. I'm using a color in here that's close to my skin tone for that, and kind of just over my whole face with it. Now I'm gonna do my contour, and for contour, I'm using this powder bronzer by Anastasia in the color Mahogany. So I'm gonna take this right on the edge of my brush and just use that on my cheekbones. And now I'm gonna put it on my temples as well and underneath my chin. Now moving on to blush, and I used to do my blush like this a while ago, and then I sort of stopped, but I am back at it, and I'm actually using, it's a Morphe M510. I can't remember why I actually bought it, but it works perfectly for my blush. So I'm taking a blush, and I'm starting on the bridge of my nose, and then going just beside my nose on either side, and blushing that up. I also come down onto the apples of my cheeks, and up a bit on the bridge of my nose. Now I'm hitting the tip of my nose and a little bit on my chin. And I just love the way this blush looks on me. I'm obsessed with it once again. And so after I do all of that, I set my face with the Morphe setting spray. And I like to add my highlighter after I set my face. Okay, now to highlight, I like to spray my brush for this step as well. And today I'm using Shady B-Word in the Babe in Paradise palette. I think I'm also gonna mix in some Chihu, a little bit of both of those. Okay, now I think we can go back to the eyes, and I'm gonna do my under eyes. For those, I think I'm just gonna take the two darkest colors, so Back Rolls and Unicorn Tribe, and put that in my under eye. I'm starting with Back Rolls, then I'm just gonna take Unicorn Tribe and blend that out. Then I think maybe I'll go in with some of that glitter in my inner corners on the bottom. Okay, next I'm going to be doing mascara, and today I'm using the Maybelline Lash Sensational Mascara. Okay, cool. I really just needed to make sure they were black because we're going to be putting on lashes. I think for lashes, I'm going to be using these. I just ordered them off of Amazon. So I'm going to cut them, prep them with glue, and then let them dry while I put on my lipstick. So while those lashes dry, I'm going to decide on a lip and then also decide on a septum ring. So I don't know if I have shown it. Actually, I know that I haven't shown it on my channel, but I have a septum ring. So I usually wear the horseshoe when I'm doing makeup because I can flip it up and get it out of the way. And so my pretty septum ring doesn't have to get like all the makeup on it. So now I'm gonna decide which one I'm gonna wear. I'm gonna be wearing this double hoop with rhinestones. Cute, I like it. Okay, lips. All of my favorite brown liners are embarrassingly small at this point. But this one actually has a name, so I can tell you what it is, and it is called Vibes. I think it's by Morphe. I'm almost positive that it's by Morphe, but it's so small that the brand is rubbed off, or is shaved off, I should say. But it is called Vibes. I'm pretty sure it's by Morphe. And for my lip color, I think I'm just going to go with my go-to nude gloss combo, which is the Nyx Butter Glosses in the color Bit of Honey and Fortune Cookie. So Bit of Honey is like exactly my lip color, and then Fortune Cookie is a bit lighter, so I like to use this in the center. So I'm just going to layer them on top of that Vibes lip pencil. I go in with Bit of Honey first, and now Fortune Cookie right concentrated in the center. I always get so many questions on Instagram about this lip color when I do wear it. So there you have it. That's what it is. If you're not following me on Instagram, I have two pages. One is at Perfectedbeauty.rm, and then the other one is Racquelle Wyatt, which is just like my personal page. Perfected Beauty is like my business / makeup page. So follow me over there. And I believe that's it for everything. I just need to apply lashes. All right, guys. Well, this is the finished look for today's video. I took my hair out, got it nice and big, added some blingy hoops, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling myself. I love how this came out. It was touch and go there for a second, especially with the pink liner. I wasn't really sure if I was gonna like it at the end, but I love it. I'm so excited to be back making videos back on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like this video, leave a comment down below if you have any questions, any suggestions, anything you'd like to see from me, and also subscribe to my channel. Share this video with a friend, show somebody else who you think can do this, who you think you would like to see try it. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.